There's a moment every gardener knows, the stubborn point when nothing seems to work, when every trick you thought would save your soil falls flat. That's exactly where I was. Mulch after mulch failed me. Straw dried out too fast. Bark chips repelled water like a roof tile. Synthetic fabrics suffocated the soil. Even those pricey, sleek commercial covers that promised miracles didn't stand a chance. And just when I was ready to give up, an old-world technique I almost overlooked flipped everything. What I found wasn't just better mulch. It was a living engine of soil transformation that made every modern product obsolete. This is the ancient mulch that changed my entire growing system. And today on Crop Corner, I want to walk you through how it works, why it's so powerful, and how you can make and use it yourself for the healthiest soil you've ever had. What surprised me most wasn't the mulch itself, but the mindset behind it. Ancient farmers from European monastic gardens to early colonial homesteads never thought of mulch as a decorative blanket. They saw it as a biological collaborator, something meant to breathe, feed, break down, and partner with the soil beneath it. Instead of laying down dry, lifeless materials, they built layered, partially decomposed organic matter that acted like a microbial superfood. This wasn't an aesthetic choice. It was survival. Their harvest depended on maintaining fertility without synthetic fertilizers or store-bought amendments. And the method they used built soil that stayed loose, dark and moist through entire growing seasons. The secret, really, is in the composition. While, modern mulches are usually dead and dry, the ancient version was intentionally alive. Gardeners would combine chopped green matter, soft kitchen scraps, carbon-rich materials, and sometimes a small nutrient booster to create a sort of half-fermented blend. By the time it hit the soil, it was already teeming with microbial activity. These microbes, they became tiny gardeners working full-time underground. They broke apart clay. They stitched together sandy soils. They released nutrients, improved drainage, created air channels, and built a structure that plants could really thrive in within just a few weeks. No fabric, no bark chip, no bagged mulch at any store can do that. The best part, you can make the exact same mulch today with materials you already have. To recreate this centuries-old technique, you first need to build the mixture. Start by gathering chopped leaves, plant trimmings, soft vegetable scraps, and a small amount of straw or hay. You want a balanced blend of green and brown materials, nothing woody or tough. To boost the microbial activity like ancient farmers did, add a simple starter. The ratio is straightforward. Mix 10 pounds of chopped plant material with 2 pounds of vegetable scraps, 1 pound of straw, and dilute 2 tablespoons of molasses in 1 quart of water. Pour the mixture evenly through the pile to kickstart fermentation. Let it rest for several days to a couple of weeks, depending on your climate, long enough to warm slightly and soften but not fully compost. This preconditioning phase is essential. It's the biological ignition switch that modern mulches never provide. By the time it reaches your garden bed, it behaves like a living extension of the soil instead of a passive cover. Once ready, apply the mulch in a layer thick enough to suppress weeds, usually between 3 to 5 inches. But unlike heavy bark chips, this blend stays breathable. Water and air pass easily, and the mulch gradually fuses with the soil below it. What happens next is where the magic unfolds. Soil that once felt like cement becomes crumbly and rich. Sandy beds stop draining too fast. Plants root deeper. Your beds hold moisture longer than you expect. If you've ever seen compost turn poor soil into something beautiful, imagine that transformation happening continuously, from the top down, all season long. Even better, you can adjust the blend for your soil. Clay-heavy gardens benefit from more leaf matter. Dry, sandy beds thrive with extra soft greens and a little more diluted molasses to drive microbial growth. Raised beds, containers and open plots all adapt beautifully to this mulch because the microbes are doing the work based on your environment. One of the most fascinating things about this method is how adaptable it is. Medieval farmers would tweak their layers season by season, adding crop residues, adjusting thickness, or incorporating decomposed straw from previous harvests. You can do the same. If you want faster breakdown, layer coarse material at the bottom and finer material on top. If you're prepping a new bed, apply a thicker layer and let it settle for a week before planting. For survival-inspired or historical-style gardens, this mulch stays true to authentic techniques while offering modern-level performance. The transformation is quick and visible. Gardeners who test the method often notice that areas treated with ancient mulch retain moisture dramatically better, resist weed growth, and show improved root development within a single season. Every modern mulch I tested only solved one part of the gardening puzzle: moisture retention, weed suppression, or appearance. None of them actually healed the soil. This ancient method does all of the above while rebuilding fertility, boosting microbial life, and strengthening soil structure naturally. That's why it has lasted across centuries. It doesn't just cover the soil, it enriches it. Over time, you build a self-sustaining ecosystem where nutrients recycle themselves, water stays available longer, and your soil becomes easier to manage each year. It's the closest thing to a no-maintenance fertility system I've ever used. Reviving this method is more than just smart gardening. It connects you to generations of growers who understood soil on an instinctive, intimate level. When you prepare your mixture, layer it carefully, and watch your soil shift from tired to thriving, you're stepping into the same rhythm ancient farmers followed for centuries. So give this method a try. Gather your materials, prepare your blend, and let your soil experience the difference a living mulch can make. And if you found this guide valuable, make sure you hit subscribe, share this video with fellow gardeners, and join the Crop Corner community as we keep exploring the techniques that make gardens healthier, stronger, and more resilient season after season.